My camera. How about them Giants? How about them Giants? How about them Giants?
Woo! What's happening, people? Welcome to another episode of Giants Rush, where we talk Giants football 50 weeks of the year. Yes, we take 2 weeks off. Deal with it. We're the podcast that you love to hate. And, of course, wow, do we have a lot to unpack, from what happened yesterday or what unfolded yesterday. There's a lot of words I could use: heartbreaker, heartbreaking, meltdown, lack of awareness, lack of coaching, overcoaching, undercoaching, just complete and utter dismay on what unfolded yesterday. Thanks for tuning in to Giants Rush. Hope you guys are well. We're going to bring in the guys. Of course, we got Ryan Dunleavy from the Post, who hangs out with us every Monday. Can't wait to hear what he knows, because all I know is that yesterday was absolutely unacceptable on so many levels. You just can't happen. 33 points in the fourth quarter, right? So let's real quick run through. We're going to do studs and duds. Giants lose 32-33 against the Broncos. They were leading by up to 19 points. Dart goes 15 for 33, 283 yards, 3 TDs, and a touch and an interception, which was costly. Rookie mistake, right? Scadaboo, he's got 60 yards rushing. He also threw in a bunch of yards for receiving, so he had a nice balanced day. Tight ends looked great. Defense looked great up until they decided not to play anymore. As soon as our boy Tay Banks came on the field, everything seemed to fall apart. Wandale had a nice breakout day with 6 for 95. There it was, 3 for 34 receiving for Scadaboo. Continues to be a dual threat. Plenty of things to talk about. Let's do this, guys. I see you rolling in the room. What's up, James? What's up, Cole? It was a Giants thing to do yesterday, Cole, but there is a lot of hope because the team is getting better. It's just no one on this team knows how to win. Right? Yeah, and I've always said it. I pounded the table for Tay Banks, and I am 100% wrong at this point in time. He's not the only culprit, but he is sure one of the bigger culprits. And again, I will say this. It's good to be the king. It is. It's always good to be the king. Now, if I could find, because I'm looking for labels. Got this big, So I'm looking for, where's my Joker? Chris, hit my Joker.
Here we go. You call me.
All right, that was pretty awesome. Let's bring him in. Yo, look, dude, I'm already arguing with you, and the show hasn't even started.
It's going to be fun. Ryan is in for a treat because he's going to get a passionate Joker tonight. I hope he's ready for it because, boy, oh boy, after that game yesterday. You guys may
be on the same page. He may say exactly
we
what
might.
Which, by the way, is some nonsense that that Joker rolled out here. But you'll all get to hear it live and very shortly. Chris, is my new intro loaded in there? Because
It's good to be the king.
You know why I love that? You know why I love that, Chris? You know why I love that?
Talk to me, man. Why do you
I love that? Because you did it, and I look like Negan from The Walking Dead in that picture. Every time I see it, I'm like, Woo! Totally needed. All right.
Hey, we got the best intros in the game done by Christian here. Like those intros are next
this
level.
Guy does. No, this guy does. That is a good intro.
That absolutely is.
Absolutely.
And there he is.
What's up?
What's up, Brian?
No, look, what do you mean, what's up? It's morning. I mean, I'm literally nothing to say and too much to say all at
No
the same
one has
time.
nothing to say about that game. No one has nothing to say.
Right.
Yeah. Well, look, we're going to rip into it. I'm really excited to hear what you have to say. Like I said, I was pleasantly surprised on pretty much everything for 3 quarters, and then I've never seen the wheels fall out. It reminded me like when we're winning the game, walking out of the stadium, the last thing someone says is, "Don't punt the ball to Deshaun Jackson." And we walk out of the stadium and that cat runs back a punt return. Reminded me of that. We're all sitting back having beers, kicking our feet up because, ain't no way these cats can 37 seconds, right? Or there's no way these guys are going to score 33 points in the 4th quarter. And it happened. So we're going to get into it. Let's Christian, hit me some studs and duds, because we got to get into that. Bang, studs and duds, guys. It's that time where we roll out. I don't know who did something good, who did something bad, and there's probably a long list of characters on both sides. Christian, I'm starting with you. I'm starting with you because you're the star who makes all these new graphics for us. So we're gonna shine a spotlight on you. Who's your stud of the day?
For me, I thought it was quite simple. It's Brian Burns. Another 2-sack performance by him. He's had multiple 2-sack games this season. I honestly think that he is playing at a level that many people didn't expect him to play at. He's playing at an all-pro level, a defensive player of the year level. And he was a player that I was really looking at going into this game because across from him on the other side, on the other side in Denver, you have Nick Bonito, who he's leading the league in sacks. You have many people considering him the front runner for defensive player of the year. And Nick Bonito was a non-factor in this game. And Brian Burns really showed up and showed out. So for me, it's Brian Burns without a doubt.
I love that. And you know what we're going to do later on in the show?
Talk to me.
We're going to look at Burns because Burns, as we all know, was a free agent. Didn't know what to expect. We knew he was a good player, right? Good player. But I looked at what he's done so far compared to a 1st-round draft pick on this team and what he has or has not done. Want to kind of compare those two up because one is depressing and one of them is on a caliber, for defensive MVP. So your stud is spot on. Sean, I know where you're going to go before you go, but I'm not going to say it out loud.
I don't think you do. I think because number one, Christian took mine. That's because we left them off. I left them off last week. Okay. But here's where I go. And Christian kind of gave a foreshadow. I'm going with Andrew Thomas. And here's why. And I don't know if that's what you thought I was going to go with.
I thought you were going to go. I thought you were going to double dip and you were going to go Andrew Thomas and Illuminor because of how well they played.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm going Andrew Thomas for the sole reason that Nick Bonito ran his mouth all week long. And Thomas stonewalled him to the point that he wanted nothing to do with Thomas after that. He switched to the other side and got stonewalled over there. So Nick Bonito, bye. Yeah, Andrew Thomas he gave up one pressure, and that was an iffy pressure to credit him for. And that's the only pressure he's given up since he's been back in. So yeah, to come in and handle that vaunted Denver pass rush and make them look like little kids out there, Andrew Thomas gets it.
I like it. I
got the Ryan seal of approval finally. He is not approved with any of my studs as of yet. So I feel good. I feel like I've made it now. All right.
You can never go wrong picking Andrew Thomas.
And you know what I love too is So we had some fun last week for all you folks listening. Ryan was ready to publish or published it while we were talking about his wide receiver trade story. And the next thing you know, everybody wants to talk to Ryan Dunleavy. Like all of a sudden, everyone's like, now listen, Ryan Dunleavy is a famous guy anyway. So let's not get crazy out there. Okay. We're not taking any credit for it. But I just thought it was pretty neat that like everyone was like, Ryan's a source, man. So you got a lot of love this week, my friend.
I did. It was a fun week, honestly, between the trade talk and the trash talk. Like it was a fun week. It was like I'm so used to my Octobers being like they're sellers or when are they going to get their first win? I wrote that story for the Jets last week. Oh, when's the first win coming? Like I'm so used to all that depressing stuff that last week was fun. It was like a little taste of what it must be like to cover a relevant team. It was fun. Yeah. I still think a trade could happen even at 2-5. I think people are wrong about or are wrong to be thinking big, big fish. Yes, that's a pun, Jalen Waddle. I don't think that's what we're talking about here. I just think receiver help more on the young and cheap side is probably what we're talking about. But I still think they'll have another receiver before November 4th.
And your stud would be who, Mr. Dunleavy?
It's Jackson Dart. I mean, I can't believe you guys left him for me. I know he threw the bad pick, but that almost makes him more of a stud for me because we'd be spending this whole week talking. we meaning the media would be spending the whole week talking about, well, that's his first bit of adversity. How is he going to bounce back? Does this kid have it? And no, nails. He was like, I don't even need to wait till next week to show you that I have it. I'm going to lead us down the field. That 4th and 19 throw was bonkers. He got away with one right after that, right before the pass interference down to the 1 yard line. That should have been a pick. But look, that's a elite defense in the NFL that he accounted for 4 touchdowns against. The first 2 touchdowns were basically all Dart magic. They were him buying time in the pocket for guys to get open. The screen pass, he looked perfectly off the defender so that Scadaboo had a whole side of the field open. I mean, I thought he played tremendous. So for your 4th career start or whatever it was to go into that environment, which was rocking, guys, that was like I covered a lot of Big Ten football. That place was like a college stadium. Like you could feel the ground shaking. It was for him to play well there is very promising.
You know, I'm kind of vibing off what you were saying because, he has this ability when he got drafted and people were asking me questions about Dart since we watch a lot of Ole Miss football here, right? I asked people, and Sean, you'll remember this, that some people have seen the movie Tin Cup before with Kevin Costner. It's a golf movie, right? And my analogy is Dart is like Tin Cup. Like he's going for that. If he doesn't get it the first time, he's trying the second time or the third time. He's very resilient, right? Where it's like, hey, I know I just threw 2 picks. Or, hey, I know I didn't get that first down on the run. I'm going to do it again, right? He's reminded me of that Tin Cup movie forever because he's going to keep trying to hit that ball over the water, on that little island like Kevin Costner. Reminds me of the same thing. He's not afraid to make mistakes. He doesn't go into his shell. So after he throws the pick, resilient, comes right back and says, hey, we're in this. Let's do it. He's the dog we've been looking for. I'm really happy with that. I mean, as far as like stud, I'm going to have to go, tight end you a little bit because you're going to remember this actually, Ryan. We were on the line with Daniel Bellinger 3 years ago, and you were on the line with his dad.
I do remember that. Yep.
Yeah. So anybody doesn't know this story, Bellinger gets drafted. He hasn't gotten to New York yet. We're on the phone with him, interviewing him. Great interview, by the way. Really
He's
cool.
a great kid. He's not a kid. He's 25, but he's just a great dude. Great dude.
Great guy. And we're interviewing him, and he says, he's talking through it. And then, like, A week later, we have Ryan on, and he goes, hey, I just wanted to let you know I was interviewing Bellinger's dad because of their family history. So anybody doesn't know, like the Bellingers are like war heroes all the way back to World War II. His grandfather was like the first plane, like, after Pearl Harbor, if I'm not mistaken. Just the whole Bellinger family is these war heroes. And Ryan was, you can look the piece up. I'm sure, you can still read it. Ryan was interviewing Frank Bellinger to talk about his family history, throughout the years while we were in the other room with his son. It was just very cool. So tight end U gets my pick and then, as I told you, Sean, Theo's starting to remind me of Shockey, where he drops the easy pass, but then he makes the unbelievable hard catch. Where Shockey would drop that sucker right in his hands, like right here, and then he would make this barbaric catch over Dawkins in the end zone. Theo comes up big. Bellinger comes up big. Nice to see those guys get some love. That's just me.
Good choice.
I think that's a real part of their offense going forward, guys. We started to see it as soon as Neighbors went out. The pivot to being a more tight end friendly offense. That's not what the Giants wanted. It's not what they imagined, but it's been a nice wrinkle that they haven't just been like, okay, next man up at receiver. No, they've realized their next best players play tight end, so they've found ways to involve them. And before we move off studs, if I could do a 1B stick, just because I don't want to ignore this guy, like I'm going to take a second stud of the week because I don't think I even had, there was one, because there'll be some weeks where I won't even have one. Guys, Wan'Dale Robinson is playing at such a high level, a level I didn't think he had, quite frankly. I knew he was a good player. I didn't think he was a very good player, and he is playing like a very good player. Like, he has shown, I think, everybody something here. He's never going to look like a number one receiver, but he's showing you right now that he could be a number two, even a high-end number two receiver, because he doesn't have much help out there, and he's sacrificing his body. He's making great catches. That 4th and 19 play was, not only was it just a great play by Dart, it was a great catch by Wan'Dale. He's really impressed me ever since Neighbors went out. He's kind of elevated his game, and he hasn't hid that it's because he knows people are doubting him. I like guys like that. I like guys that have a chip and are willing to show it to you.
Hey guys,
and also, Craig, how many discussions did you and I have about Wan'Dale? And I said, get him a quarterback, and he's going to show people what he can do, because you were like, right?
Yeah, well, 100%. And he's showing. I mean, he can't carry the team. They're going to need some reinforcements, but right now he's doing everything possible to make this offense go. I mean, there's nothing more you can ask out of the dude. Like, not a big guy, doesn't weigh a lot, right? He's grinding. I mean, there's no better way to say it. The kid's grinding to say, well, it won't be me that lets this team down, right? So, I mean, again, and you know how hard I am on him, but you can't ask for anything more out of that guy, right? And
can I add to that point real quick? Actually,
yeah, jump in.
Because I think that was an excellent selection by Ryan, and I don't think a lot of people are giving Wan'Dale the credit that he deserves, rightfully. And Sean, I mean, you and I, we kind of think alike on a lot of things. And,
oh boy,
for me, I had tweeted, going into training camp, I would like to see Wan'Dale get more downfield targets. I want to see him get more involved in the intermediate side of the field. I think he's more than just this dink and dunk yak receiver. And for me, I mean, I jumped out of my chair when you saw Jackson Dart trying to extend the play, and he high points the ball to Wan'Dale Robinson, who was using every inch of his body to get, off of the ground to climb the ladder and get that catch. He's been very impressive. So I give him a lot of credit, especially when you're going against that vaunted defense. So
I'll double down on that, Christian. The reason why I didn't like the Wan'Dale pick was because I was like, man, they did this in Buffalo with McKenzie and Beasley. And I was like, that's all you're trying to do is run 9-yard stick routes and hopefully that it's all yak. And sometimes you just got to run past the first down line. You know what I mean? Like, I got so sick of seeing Wandale catch 9-yard routes and be short of the first down. So to see him get to play outside and come in motion, you know what I mean? They're using him in different places, because watching him just catch, seam routes or out routes, always short, and then hoping for yak like Beasley and McKenzie, that used to drive me crazy. So it's good to see him bouncing outside his normal MO with the Giants. And it could be a Dart thing, right? Could be a Dart thing. Maybe him and Dart have something going on. Either way, great pick by Ryan. So without further ado, those are our studs. Well, when you lose in the fashion the Giants did, there's going to be some freaking duds. And there's one that I just want to punch in the face, but I'll leave mine for last. I'm going to start off with you, Sean. Please be animated here, because I think we can't let these people off the hook when you lose 30. You give up 33 points in one quarter. It's not like they gave up 33 points in the game.
Yeah. So you listen, there's a few times I've gone with the coaching staff as dud. So I'm gonna pivot here. I'm gonna go a little different. I'm gonna leave the obvious choice for you guys. I think what would be the obvious choice, but I'm gonna go with Tay Banks as my dud of the game. And here's why. 0 points were scored prior to Banks coming in the game. 33 points and there was 4 sacks. All right, until Banks came in. 33 points and 0 sacks happened when he came in the game. And for a number of reasons. Number one, he does not give a good effort. And that final catch right before the field goal was that was the seal for me. I'm done with that dude. And no reaction, no nothing. It's like he didn't care. He's like, oh, well, I just gave up a pass. And he tried to say that he got picked. Yeah, no, you did not get picked, dude. Watch the tape. You did not get picked at all. You're just bad. And I think what happens is 2 things. I think Bowen calls it differently when Banks is in the game, because he knows he can't do what he needs him to do. And I think the rest of the team suffers when Banks is in the game, because they're doing one of 2 things. Either they're trying to get him lined up correctly, tell him what his assignments are, or they're trying to cover for him so they mess up their own assignments. Because it was clear that defense went to shit as soon as Banks came in the game. And I was like, as soon as I saw Debo's out and Banks came in, I'm like, we're screwed. We're screwed. They went right at him. Nothing changed. He's got no fight, no heart, no nothing. Like, as a player, and you're getting targeted, you got to nut up and do something. And that's what drives me nuts. He's got to get, I don't think they can trade anything. Ryan, I know we on Twitter, we're talking about trading him or somebody. I don't even think he's got trade value at this point, right? Maybe somebody's crazy enough to take him, but he can't be on the team and he can't get significant snaps anymore. Give me Art Green over him, because at least Art Green's going to give a better effort. It's like, even if he gets beat, he's going to get beat going 100%. Banks, how can you not guard against a run play? How do you let the guy get inside, outside? Like, he's just non-existent on the run. Let alone the pass is as bad as it is. I can't. I just can't with that guy. He's got to go. I can't see him on the field at all. Like, kick returns, fine. On defense, there's just no way he can play significant snaps anymore. Just no way. Can't allow it. Can't
argue with it, man. And like I said, and I pounded the table of this guy, and now I'm like, man, you were just embarrassing yourself out there with that half-ass effort. Watching him, like, I'll try to push this guy out of bounds. I don't even want to go there. I'm like, he's just, and again, I don't know if they'll do anything about it, but they can't play with this guy. Like, I mean, they're literally losing games because of him. But all right, let's move. Let's keep moving. Christian, what do you got for me? Tell me you got something different than Banks.
It's funny is mine was going to be Banks initially, but I'm going to pivot. I got to say Theo Johnson. And I understand he had that 41-yard touchdown off of, the deflection from Wandale. But he can't block. He seems to drop everything. I mean, for me personally, I am done with the Theo Johnson experiment. I, as well as a couple other, Giants fans / Giants content creators throughout the year and going into the season had said, Daniel Bellinger needs to get more snaps at tight end 1. He catches everything thrown to him. He's a good blocker. And I never understood why it seemed like essentially since we drafted him, they have done everything possible to replace him. Whether
so
it's Darren
true, man.
Waller, whether it's Theo
So
Johnson,
true.
like I don't understand it. And he almost had a 2-touchdown game, yesterday. And again,
Oh,
for
finger-
me, Theo Johnson, dude, I'm done. I hope
His
that
only
Brian
drop of the
Dable.
game, by the way.
Yeah,
Well,
exactly.
yeah,
Right.
but
It's
it's noticeable.
And
But
he made up for it with a spectacular catch
Yep.
afterwards. And I don't know why people are saying he can't block. Maybe he misses a block
can't
here and
block.
there, but he's one of
He
our
can't
better
block.
blocking tight ends outside of Chris Manhurts.
He can't block. He cannot block.
Yeah, no. You got sorry.
He cannot
Respectfully,
block.
you guys are
Hey,
wrong on
Christian,
that one.
Christian,
all
I'm
good.
You
gonna
guys are respectfully, you guys are both wrong on that one.
no, he's an atrocious blocker. He is late to the
Oh,
block
geez.
almost every play. But Christian, I'm going to double down.
That's it.
Guess what's going to happen? You
What's up?
ready?
Mhm.
Theo Johnson's going to get better because Bellinger's going to get more snaps. They're going to start fueling each other like Gronk and Hernandez did. I know
can
that's
see
a
that.
terrible thing to say because like the guy's a loser, but Theo Johnson's going to get better. These guys are going to start getting more snaps. I think those guys are going to motivate each other. I think you're going to see a better Daniel Bellinger because you're right. They've done nothing but try to replace this cat, and he just keeps coming back. And you know what? He's pretty good for yak too, right? So I like what you're saying. I like you're saying, Ryan, help me out here. I know I see you shaking your head too. They've been trying to place Bellinger, so he's going Theo. I'm reserving my right for my last one. Who's your dud?
All right, so I got some things to say.
I'm locked in, excited.
Yes.
All right, so I got
Let's
some
hear it.
things to say.
We're here for it.
Theo Johnson. I don't see him as a dud. Not just for this game. You said you're done, Christian. You said you're done with him. Like he's got 4 touchdowns right now. Like there were years I've covered this team where the leader on the team doesn't have 4 touchdowns. So like he's a legitimate. I know the 4th one was yesterday was actually not intended for him. He's got a legitimate connection with Dart. I think he's developing into a red zone threat. He is a second-year player who wasn't much of a pass catcher at Penn State, so he's still, I think, developing his hands. I've seen players I want to give up way faster than Theo Johnson. I think Theo Johnson, I'm not expecting him to develop into a Pro Bowl All-Pro, but I think he could be a very good, half of a very good compliment for a long time. So, like, I wouldn't give up on Theo Johnson just yet. Yes, I agree with you. He has had some drops. I agree he's a subpar blocker. They don't make guys with his body type for, he looks like he could play pass rusher and work ethic and the chemistry he has with Dart. I just think there's something there. I wouldn't give up on him yet. There's guys I'd give up a long time before him. Banks. Look, everything you said, most of the things you said about him, I totally agree with. Like he just gives off a vibe. They do change a vibe of, I don't know, disinterest, of not getting better. It's still the same problems that the Cortland Sutton catch to set up the game-winning field goal is Banks' career in a nutshell. Tight coverage, doesn't turn his head, reception. The getting picked sounded, that's a quote he said, I was in the group, sounded like excuse making. You don't like that. You're right. As soon as he comes in the game, it's like the other offensive coordinator and quarterback, just basically the play is throw it at that guy. They do change the defense when he's in there to cover for him. Here's another play that encapsulated it. Remember the Cordell Flott Banks rotation?
Yeah.
The Broncos ran what I have to assume is the exact same play, like 10 minutes apart in the game. It's like a sideline out route, and Cordell Flott hit the dude in the back and knocked the ball out from behind.
Yes, he did.
Then they ran it against Banks, and Banks just like shoved him out of bounds for a catch. And it was like the perfect encapsulation of like same route, same position, 2 guys that the Giants want to tell you are even, and one guy gets a PBU, and the other guy just like shoves you out of bounds for a reception. Look, we know what this is at this point. This is a first-round draft pick that they're trying to salvage something out of. They should have traded him last week. I heard one team that might be interested in taking him off their hands you would get basically, now you're talking about a late round pick swap, like a 6 for a 7 or something like that. But basically they take him off your hands. I don't know if that team would still be interested. You might, at this point, I don't think they'll cut him, but I would agree with you, Joker, that I would play Art Green or somebody else ahead of him. Now I would slide him further down the depth chart. Remember when Dexter Lawrence looked like he wanted to kill Deonte Banks in Pittsburgh last year? Like, I gotta think locker room frustrations will boil over again pretty soon. So I was hoping somebody would go with Jude McAtamney before me, because I'm not going to go with Jude McAtamney because I don't think that's fair. I don't think so. My duds are Brian Daboll and Joe Shane, because I am so sick of writing about screwing up game day roster management. Like, this is just not something I thought of in Joe Judge and Pat Shurmur and Ben McAdoo's Giants. Like, I never really thought about, like, oh God, do they have the right 53 guys? Do they have the right guys on the practice squad? Like, I never really thought about this. And it's all I think about with this regime, because it's like, they never have the right kicker. It's like, sometimes they don't have a kicker. Sometimes they play a hurt kicker. Sometimes the kicker gets hurt before the game. And now they're playing. And like, for 3 weeks ago, we were like, Jude McAtamney's like really only here because he's Irish and is a roster exemption. Are you sure he's even an NFL kicker, or is he just like a fun story? They're like, no, he won the competition. So it's like, okay, if he won the competition, then I guess he's good. And then you put him out there, and clearly he's not ready. He missed 3 PATs. You won't try 40-yard field goals in a league that they kick 65-yard field goals. You won't try 40-yard field goals. So, like, I'm so sick of that. The scholarship roster spots for Deonte Banks, for Evan Neal. Evan Neal's been a healthy scratch 7 times, right? 7 times. So yesterday they didn't have John Michael Schmitz, so they were down a guy on the interior line. Neal still didn't get a jersey. So, like, why is he on this team? Like, you cut Elijah Garcia, who made a play at one point. Elijah Garcia has a sack this year, but like Evan Neal just gets to like keep his scholarship, and like Deonte Banks just gets to keep his scholarship. I'm really tired of the free passes and the construction of the lineup. And look, somebody's going to blame Bowen. Daboll decided to keep Bowen, and Daboll had Dart scored a touchdown that got reviewed. Then they missed the PAT. Then there was a kickoff. I don't forget what seconds on the clock. That must have been 5 real-time minutes before they went on the field. That's plenty of time for Daboll to get on the headset and say, hey, Shane, we're rushing 5 here. Like, you have the final say. So, like, I'm not letting Daboll off the hook for that. And the offensive play calling, the 5, as Tiki Barber railed on the postgame show, the interception Dart threw. Why are you passing there? And if you are passing, it has to be an RPO rollout, something where Dart has the option to take a sack, make the Broncos run clock, call timeout, punt, stretch the field. And then they threw another pass on 3rd down the next time they got the ball. That was another incompletion down the field. I thought they totally mismanaged the clock, which is a huge part of being a head coach.
I love
100.
it. I've got a 2-part dud here. The Daboll thing is.
Hold on 1 sec. I guess my final point, Craig. My final point is just this. Eric Gray, Josh Azudu. I'm just really tired of them putting guys in positions that the guy can't do. And that's what Jude McAtamney is. Like, you're asking this guy to do this. He can't do it. So, like, at some point, that's not his fault. That's your fault for continuing to ask guys to do things they can't do.
Yeah, I was going to say the loyalty and is out of control at some point. Like, why are we loyal to Evan Neal? Why are we loyal to this kicker who couldn't?
Because he's a 1st-round pick. That's why.
That's what I'm saying. But in the real world, that doesn't fly after a while. right?
In the NFL, other teams that doesn't fly.
No.
Doesn't fly.
Yeah.
Your kicker,
Yep.
well, what's a nice story, can't kick. Right? So you're getting to this point where you're like, I mean, Jalen Hyatt wasting space. Banks, Evan Neal. We can go on and on. We can find different guys throughout the organization that they just hold on to. And I'm like, why are they so afraid to make a mistake? My dud is still going to be Bowen because he's despicable. He is a despicable human to be able to sit on the sideline and watch it unfold. And the last series of the game, arguably, and let me ask you this, yes or no, Sean, is the best player on the New York Giants Dexter Lawrence?
Arguably, yes.
Christian?
Absolutely.
Ryan?
Absolutely.
Not this year, but I mean, I get it. He's in the conversation. The best
Him
player
and
on
Burns.
the Giants.
The game's on the line, and Carter and Dexter Lawrence aren't even on the field.
I mean, yeah, no, I get the point. The point is they need to be on the field. I get that.
The guy doesn't understand his personnel, and when it's your job, and like I said, sure, can Dable step in? That's what me and Sean were talking about before the show started. All those things are potential, but God, how do you not do your job? You're talking about one quarter, one stop, and one first down. The game's over. They gave up 4 times they couldn't stop them, and they couldn't get one first down. Like, all his job is to do is figure out what it's going to take to make one stop. And you see Burns, it's all over the internet, it's all over social media, walking through the tunnel saying, why on God's earth are we got 8 guys,
dropping 8.
Dropping eight. Like, how do you not, like, listen, how many times have we watched sideline conversations between coaches arguing with each other, players arguing? This guy's I don't even want to say the word. I probably can't say that word. The guy is just, he's not an NFL winning defensive coordinator. He's a defensive coordinator that can pull you in a below average defense, and maybe in a category or 2, he looks average. Okay, yeah, Dable's fault he didn't fire him. But here we are trying to give him a second chance. He's on the biggest stage to turn the Giants around to a 3-win team. And you're talking about a whole quarter he got blown away. And not one moment did he turn around and say, I'm going to try something different. I've just given up 3 scores.
I mean,
I'm going to add to that.
They did play great defense for 3 quarters. They played like you guys have followed. Craig, you're older than me. You followed the Giants longer than me. Like,
thanks for that.
Yeah,
I'm old
like
too.
I didn't want to say it.
They played like 1980s style defense. They were doing like legal bone jarring hits.
Yes.
Like, Bobby rattled some guy, Belton at the goal line. Like,
Belton laid some wood. Yep.
The word is ferocious.
Burns.
They were playing ferocious defense. So, like, I don't want to ignore that completely. Like, I know it got canceled out 3 quarters to 1 quarter. It got at least canceled out, if not pushed the other direction. But, like, for 3 quarters, they played great defense. Like, better than they played under Wink, better than they played under Patrick Graham. Like, that was as good a Giants defensive performance as I've seen. I was ready to write, like, Bowen's turned everything around. Now you can't do that. It obviously blew up in his face. But, like, he didn't get his pants pulled down from jump. He made no adjustments, which is a recurring theme.
Which is, I remember when we had Carl on last year, Ryan, he said, after 7 weeks, you think at some point in time you'd pivot and go somewhere else at halftime and make an adjustment. And every week at halftime comes around and you come out in the 3rd quarter and it's the same thing. So now I'm like at this point where we're, to your point about the 3 quarters, let's flip it on its ear. Eli Manning looked average for 3 quarters, and for the 4th quarter, he was dynamic because he was the comeback kid. It's fine if you're playing great in the 4th quarter and you come back and you win. Nobody gets a medal for playing the first 3 quarters of great football on unbelievably better talent and shitting the bed on the 4th quarter.
Correct. One thing, though, I think I've said it on the show in the past couple of weeks when we talked about Bowen, is like he has some battle scars, I think, from having an under-talented roster last year. And I can't, again, my dud was Joe Shane and Brian Daboll. Like, the collapse happened when Adebo and Javon Holland were out of the game. So he's playing with I mean, I get it. Everybody in here is a diehard, but like, if you told me you could name Bo Braid and Nick Jones, then, you know, you're a bigger Giant fan than 98% of the Giants fans out there. Like, he's putting these guys, Banks isn't good. Like, he's trying to, you can't give up 33 points in the fourth quarter, but he's not doing it with NFL talent. Like, they had no depth, and it showed, but like, when he had his players, he was doing pretty well.
Yeah, well, to your point, right? That's a great point. But to Craig's point too, that's the thing. If you change how you coach the game because Deonte Banks come in, then that's ridiculous. Like, then you're not a qualified defensive coordinator. If you can't he was 80% rushing 4, which is fine when you have a Debo and Holland still in the game. It didn't drop off when Holland went out because Belton came in and filled in well. It was when Banks came in, everything went to shit when he came in. And he didn't make any adjustments, add a little more pressure so Banks doesn't have to hold on and guard a guy for a longer period of time. Like, and listen, Craig can tell you, I have defended Bowen more than anybody on this podcast.
Yeah, it's
anybody
crazy.
And you have the same exact situation that you had in Dallas, and you do the exact same thing. You're coaching rushing 3, dropping 8, and you're only up by 2. And you leave Dexter Lawrence and Abdul Carter on the sideline. Like, having coached at the college level, you don't know. Some things are up to positional coaches when it comes to rotation. So you may be able to answer this, Ryan. Is it Bowen who decides rotations? Is it the positional coaches who decides rotation? Who decides that? Because their rotations make 0 sense. And if I'm the D coordinator and I see that, and the head coach, if I look on the field and I don't see Abdul Carter or Dexter Lawrence on the field, I'm calling a timeout or I'm doing something. So can you shed some light on who's in charge on rotations? Is it positional coaches or is that Bowen?
Position coaches are in charge of the rotations. Now, I don't know if that applies to 33 seconds left in the game on 1st and 10. Like that might, you know, that's a situation you could probably overrule it or whatever. But like, if you're talking who splits up the like Carter, Thibodeau, Burns, make sure they all get, you know, the same amount, that's Charlie Bowen. But like, that doesn't mean that it's Charlie Bowen in the last play of the game. It's probably not. I'm sure that's probably Dable and Bowen.
Okay, right. And that's who I believe you can't look at that field and be like, where's Dexter Lawrence? Like, you can't miss Dexter Lawrence. You should know if he's on the field or not. And that can't happen. That cannot happen. And you can't go and be like, not only that, I think if Ryan, correct me if I'm wrong, against Dallas in that same situation, they rushed 4 and dropped 7. Or did they do the same exact thing?
I think it was 4 and 7. I think it was 4 and 7.
Yeah. So this time, and the adjustment they make was to only rush 3 and drop 8.
Look, I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it. I think there is a fear involved too that you're going to rush 5 or 6. They're going to hit a quick pass, and you don't have very good tacklers on the field either. So like that, that's a very real thing. Like, okay, here's your crosser, Deonte Banks. Go make this one-on-one tackle because we just blitzed 6 guys. I don't know that that's going to work out great for you either.
Well, no, I get that. I mean, even if you just rush 4 instead of 3 in that situation.
Yeah, 4 is probably the way. Yeah, 4 is probably the way. And the right 4.
That's exactly right. The right 4. It should have been Dexter, Tibbs, Carter, and Burns all rushing after. Yeah, no offense to Roy Robertson Harris, but he's not. I mean,
they had the wrong personnel there. Yeah, I mean, look, it is what it is. He's not blameless. They had the wrong personnel.
Let's shift gear to offense, because here's the other side of the ball, guys. Let's talk about the wide receiver room, right? We talked all week about, is there going to be a trade, this and that. Here's the other side of the coin. I know no one's talking about it, but I want to talk about it. We couldn't really get a first down. We were like, it's PI here, holding here, roughing the passer here. If you've got another wide receiver in the room, maybe you don't have 8 in the box. Maybe you get a first down, and next thing you know, the field position's different, right? Maybe you got a chance for a field goal, something like when we really need a first down. It's Wandale playing like Superman. It's Scatterboo like literally getting pounded like a nail into a piece of wood, or it's nothing, right? I mean, don't get me wrong. Tight ends are coming on a little bit stronger, but 3 catches for Bellinger, 3 catches for Theo. It's not lighting the world on fire, The wide receiver room is at an all-time, low. You got, and if I pull out these numbers right, you had 0 catches from Hyatt. You had 0 catches from Humphreys. You had 0 catches from Collins. You can't play an NFL game and have your number 2, your number 3, and your number 4 wide receiver with no catches. So if we had a receiver, I'm not saying it's Jerry Jeudy. I'm not saying that it's Olave. I'm just saying you need a wide receiver to stretch the field. They're playing 8 in the box. No one's scared of what the Giants are bringing to the table. You know what it is? Hey, man, you got it. We got a blanket and bracket Wandale, and he's a small cat, so it could be done. And we shut down Scatterboo. We beat the Giants. We're going to go all season. There's now weeks and weeks of tape without Malik Neighbors. Very easy to see the Giants offense is basically dart playing magic, man, Houdini, right? That's going to only last so long. And by the way, let's not forget that in the third quarter or starting the fourth quarter, I think he only had 9 yards rushing. So they basically shut that down too. Okay. So, and I'll start with you, Christian. They're not winning any more games unless you can actually stretch the field, turn those 8 into a box to 6, and open up the field a little bit. What are they going to do? It's not enough right now.
I mean, yeah, it's a good question. I thought it was very alarming how it just seemed like really the only receiver getting open and making plays outside of obviously the tight ends, it was Wandale. You didn't really see LaJordan Humphrey get some action. You have, I believe, what was it? Juice Wells got called up, but he wasn't active for this game. I think at this point, for me, one of the things that I left with after this game was they really do need wide receiver help. Whether that is, like Ryan said earlier, them just bringing some sort of wide receiver in, not saying it's a big fish game, a big fish wide receiver, but they need some form of help because, I mean, to have Wandale be your wide receiver 1, and I know Darius Slayton's dealing with that hamstring injury, but even with Slayton, I don't have much confidence in this wide receiver room. I personally thought a guy like Jalen Hyatt would make most of his opportunities in this game, and although I do think Jackson Dart did overthrow him a bit, I thought Jalen Hyatt wasn't running at full speed personally. I could be wrong.
I saw it.
But, for me, I really do think that they need to add someone. I've seen way too many Giants fans, commenting on the release of Tyler Lockett. I'm good. I'm more than good. I don't need Tyler Lockett on this team. He could go be with the Raiders. He could go join DK and the Steelers over there. Let them have that. I'm good. But it's a real issue. I think it is a real issue. And it was a real issue even when Malik Neighbors was healthy. Because one thing I told myself was, if a guy like Darius Slayton goes down, your wide receiver room is very thin. Because now you're you were already force feeding Malik Neighbors. But if a guy like Slayton or Wandale goes down, like, who is going to step up behind these guys? And I don't feel personally, and I'm not expecting you guys to agree with me, but I don't feel like Joe Shane and this front office have made real attempts to upgrade that room. Because I was conflicted on re-signing Darius Slayton. I'm glad they did, but I was conflicted in that regard. So,
what do you got for me, Sean? I mean, yeah.
Well, a couple of things, because I saw all over Twitter today people getting on Jalen Hyatt. So I'm gonna say a couple of things. Number one, he was running at 21 miles per. And Christian's not directed at you. I'm just dropping some knowledge here. He was running at 21 miles per hour. The other thing he was doing, he set up the DB. That's why he came off the line slow. It's what you do when you're running a deep route like that. And it worked because he ran by the defenders. It was an overthrow, plain and simple. It's going to happen. Aaron Rodgers overthrows receivers. It happens. But you can't blame Hyatt for that there. That's not his fault whatsoever. So I don't think a lot of people understand how routes are set up sometimes. But the other thing why I don't blame Giant Hyatt a couple of times is you saw in Philly, they got him the ball on outs. And what did I say last week? Stop running him on just deep patterns, and that's all you run him on. Get the ball in his hands, let him use his speed. Run a jet sweep, run a wide receiver screen. Just do something to utilize him. But I think that the wide receiver room does need to upgrade. I was not happy. We know, Ryan, you told us why Darius Slayton, part of the reason why he was back. I get it. But we need something else, and we need it for a number of reasons. But I think that they're just not utilizing the guys in the ways of where their strengths are. And that's where I feel we're lacking. Yes, the offense is putting up a lot of points. Yes, we can get away with using 2 really good tight ends that have done good things. Yes, Wandale can produce. Lil Jordan had a nice catch, but it got negated because of a penalty, if I'm not mistaken. So he's a nice big body guy, 50-50 catch, contested catch guy, which is nice. Who we can get at this point that's out there, if you're going to look at Rashid Shaheed, Deontay Wicks, as you mentioned, Ryan, before, somebody like that, yeah, but you gotta utilize guys with their strengths at. And again, if you have a guy with high end speed, just get the ball in his hands and let him run. Let him run a quick slant. Let him run the outs like he was doing. Let him do something. But that's my take there.
Let me ask you a quick question.
Yeah.
You sometimes we give these coaches credit, sometimes we don't. We say, oh, they should know all this stuff because they're pro coaches, all this stuff. There's got to be reasons why it becomes so inept. These guys you're not talking about an off day. They didn't have 1 catch. You're talking about 3 receivers without a catch. So the moral of the story is these guys can't get it done. They're not good enough to get open on a regular basis, Ryan. These guys, they don't have what it takes to beat a good. Can they get open on occasion? Yeah, they can. Can they grab a ball or 2? Yeah. We can't win with waiting for Wandale magic and 3 catches spread over Collins, Humphreys, and Hyatt. It just won't work. I mean, no matter how we try to put a 10-pound you-know-what in a 5-pound bag of you-know-what, it's not going to work. The defenses aren't afraid of Hyatt. They're not afraid of Collins or Humphreys. Where is the adjustment, Ryan? What are they going to do? The wide receiver room looks very pedestrian.
Yeah, I wish I had an answer for you. I mean, based on their history, they're not going to do anything. They're just going to keep banging their head against the wall. So that's what they usually do. I mean, that's the case. I told you, I think they'll add somebody. I don't think it's going to be a true difference maker. I think it'll be somebody better than what they have. Like you said, I mean, I think little Jordan Humphrey played 74 snaps and didn't have a catch, right? Did he not have a catch? Yeah, 74 snaps. They like him as a run blocker, but again, you need more than that. You need somebody to keep a defense honest. Slayton could be back this week. I know the last taste of him is Giants fans screaming about his drops in New Orleans, but he's a professional receiver who gets downfield, has some playmaking. He'll keep people on. Like Darius Slayton, if he plays, will beat Adoree Jackson or Keely Ringo or whoever his matchup is with the Eagles, and they're disaster at number 2 cornerback. Darius Slayton will win that matchup. So you can't say that about anybody else on the roster right now. I thought that was a good point about Jalen Hyatt setting up his route. I thought that was also a good point about finding other ways to get him the ball. They've turned him into a one-trick pony. So Bo Collins, I think, still is learning the playbook. Let's say that. So there's only a certain amount of time that you can trust him. They got a very favorable pass interference call on that last drive down to the 1. I'm not so sure. That drive looks a lot different if they don't get that call. And
finally,
yeah, they did. I mean, they were probably owed one, but yeah, that was very favorable. Collins drew that. Another thing about Wandale is he drew 3 pass interference plays and a pass interference penalties and a face mask penalty. So you're going to pretty much add that yardage onto his receiving yardage. Yeah, I mean, he was just all over. Where's the adjustment? I don't think they have one. I just don't think they have. I mean, game to game planning, that is, I think, a strength of Mike Kafka's. Finding a weakness in a opponent and exploiting it. But once that opponent what's the baseball saying? Once they adjust to your adjustments or whatever, I don't know that the Giants have the personnel to have a counterpunch.
Well, the other thing too, let's not forget about Denver's Patrick Surtain is one of their corners, right? He's one of the top corners in the league. So not many receivers.
Most teams don't have a Patrick Surtain, but most teams have a good number 1 corner. Right. If Quinyon Mitchell play, he's not Patrick Surtain, but he's really good. And then you're going to play then you're going to play Terry on Arnold or whatever, and he's pretty good. And, whatever. So most teams don't have a Patrick Surtain, but they have most teams' top 2 corners are going to be better than the Giants' top 2 receivers. That's just what it is.
Yeah, of course.
It's going to be tough to win games that way. I will say that.
I think Juice Wells could do something though, but he's not. I mean, yes, he was just recently activated, but he's got to learn the playbook. He's got to grade. There was no way he was going to play against Denver getting activated when he got activated. Right?
It's nice that he and Dart have a chemistry together, and the Giants are clearly running routes with Dart that are pulled right out of the Ole Miss playbook.
Yeah.
So that's an adjust. They were not running those routes with Russell Wilson. So that's nice. So that gives Juice Wells an advantage. But if the Giants thought Juice Wells was a high-end player, he would have been on the practice squad for the first 6 weeks of the season, not, cut after training camp and not resign. And 31 other teams left him on free agency too. Yes, every once in a while there's a Victor Cruz or whatever, but it would surprise me if 31 teams and plus the Giants who had him all training camp and left him out there for 7 weeks if he suddenly came in and made a difference. Though I will say the part that they're running Ole Miss routes, I mean, I guess I would try him before I would try, before I'd keep running out some of the guys they're running out.
Yeah.
I'd honestly try Gunnar Olszewski before I try some of that. I might give Gunnar Olszewski the things.
By the way, he looked good Gunnar looked good in preseason.
That's what I said. Yeah. So
I like it. I like it a lot. All right, let me. Something happened in the game that struck me odd. There was the clock management wasn't great. I don't think it's ever great, but it was definitely not great yesterday. Let me ask you a question, Ryan, about something that happened. And again, having played this game for a long time, watching this game, covering this game, whatever it is, I don't think I've ever seen this before. And I'm almost at the point where now I'm this seems like this could be a new trend, right? Tush push starts a couple years ago. All of a sudden, it's not a legal thing. It's not part of the game. And all of a sudden now it's part of the game, pushing someone from behind in the end zone, right? So Brian Burns is in on a play. He's running back to the defensive side of the ball. The offense gets up and snaps it, and they call him, of course, offsides, right? And they lose that yardage. Why doesn't every team do that? You take a sack, the defense is celebrating their sack. Why doesn't the offense then just run up and snap the ball? Because I've never seen it happen where a guy is running back. It wasn't like he was walking. He was running back to the defense, and they snap the ball and call a penalty on him. So why doesn't every team do that?
Yeah, you know what? I've actually wondered that for a lot of years, and shame on me for not looking it up. I think there's a rule on how much time you have to give them, or how much time after the official spots the ball or whatever. I think they're I don't think you can just do it in 2 seconds while they're they're celebrating. But I don't know the rule. I'll get you that answer. I'll get you that answer because I have actually wondered that for 20 years and never bothered to look it up. So shame on me. Because I have seen it. You said you've never seen it before. I have seen it before.
I've seen the delay a game, Ryan, where a guy sacks a guy. He kind of lays on him a little bit.
No, I've seen it where the guy is called for being offsides for not getting back across the line of scrimmage before. I have seen it. Now, look, Burns was running. I don't know that,
he wasn't walking. I mean, he was making an attempt to get there.
Well, he also had a bad wheel. His foot was in a walking boot after the game. We're waiting for him to talk to us, and he's slipping on a walking boot, and we're all like,
yeah.
Did this just go from bad to worse?
Right.
And it also too, watching Dart talk after the game, watching Burns talk after the game, and these guys care more than I've seen guys care in a long time, which is really cool.
No, this is a team that cares. This is a team that cares for sure. I've been around players that I don't get that vibe from. This team does. Brian Burns was crying. Brian Burns was crying in his locker room. In his locker. You don't see that in the pros a lot. These are, tough guy, men of men.
Yeah, they're the 1% on the 1%.
Yeah, and he was crying in his locker room. I mean, that was emotional. So I've only seen it one other time where a guy was crying, and that's because that guy basically the loss was on him, so to speak, or something in the game that happened specifically was his fault, and he knew it. This was not that. This was the emotion of like opportunity lost.
Yeah.
So
Ryan, let me ask you, and we probably got to move on to this, but I'm kind of jumping the gun because when you talk about Burns crying, it made me think of this. We know what he said after the game too. Do you think that and we saw Dexter's kind of non-response to a question about yesterday as well. Do you, and if you can't answer, I completely understand, but you've been in a locker room, you've got to sense some guys, as you just said. Are you getting a sense that maybe they're not fully bought into their defensive coordinator, or is that defensive coordinator starting to lose the players at all?
I think if he was that's how you get fired, when you lose the players.
Right.
We asked Bobby about it today. Bobby said we're all in.
Right.
That was just post-game frustration. I lose them would be strong. I would say there might be some doubts. How about that? And that's not
Okay.
anything anybody's told me. That's just 8 years of experience and reading tea leaves and facial expressions, and sometimes what isn't said is more important than what is said,
Right.
and non-answers and pursing lips and actually starting to answer a question and then saying, I'm not going to say, actually, know what? I'm not going to say what I was going to say. Like,
Mhm.
doubts might be the right word, not lost, but like if you told me they were headed in that direction, sure.
Okay.
especially
Well, because
after
the
you
other thing
see
that Burns
Burns
the
in
other
the
thing that
tunnel.
Burns said, which struck me as interesting, Ryan, was he's like, I know Dabbs is going to get a lot of blame for this. He didn't defend Bowen, he defended Dabbs, which
Dable.
I thought was pretty interesting. Would you
Correct.
kind of agree that was an
I
interesting
did.
answer he gave there?
I did. I put that in my story today. Yes, I did. I thought that was interesting. He took Dayball. Now he didn't throw Bowen under the bus, but
No, no,
he didn't exonerate him either.
Yeah,
right.
because he had the opportunity to do it and he chose not to.
He picked Dayball. Yes.
I mean, did you guys notice how, when Dexter Lawrence's, I think it was Jordan Renan that had asked him a question, and you see Dexter Lawrence staring into the camera. I counted
Yeah,
4
it was.
seconds staring
Yeah.
into the camera before he answers the question. I mean, at some point, I agree with you, Ryan. I don't think that they're completely bought out on Shane Bowen, but I think that they are heading in that direction.
I think that was a question. And look, we have to do this is our job.
Of
Sometimes we
course.
ask questions we know the answers to. But that's one thing that bothers players in my experience is like when they know that I know the answer to the question I'm asking, they don't love that. And I think that was kind of the case in that scenario.
Yeah. All right, I got to ask a question here because this is a little bit of. I think sometimes we give guys a pass. It's kind of old how many times we guys give passes to. If you like a player, you give him a pass. Just the way it's human nature. You always find something about the player you like. And I've been trying to give Kayvon Thibodeau as many passes as possible. But I'm at this point where I'm like, great players are great. Great players make plays. It's not once in a while. It's not like he's doing better. Great players are great. Okay, so here we got these two polarizing players. Got Brian Burns, who's not doing runway. Got Kayvon Thibodeau, who's doing runway. You got a guy who was a free agent who came from a bad team. I think you said it 2 weeks ago, Ryan, about this guy's never won anything. And, right? So, and then we get this guy, Kayvon Thibodeau, who we all want to like. And then if you're like Sean, you give him as many passes as possible. So, like, I'm just saying that now I'm like, all right, I just want to see what it looks like, right? And I'm looking at this. So, and again, not that stats are everything. I don't think stats tell the whole story, but just kind of high level. 1 tackle against Dallas, 1 against the Saints, 2 against the Chargers, 2 against Kansas City, 1 against Washington, none against Dallas. And then I go, okay, well, let me look at his QB hits. Maybe he's just in the backfield so much as this great pass rusher we have. 0 QB hits versus Denver, 0 versus Philly, 0 versus Saints. And this is where it gets interesting. 3 against the Chargers, 2 against Kansas City, 2 against Dallas, 1 against Washington. So what's that tell you? Started off like, I got something to prove. I've got Abdul Carter here trying to take my job. I'm coming out of the gate hot. And all he's done is get cold, and colder. Then I flip and say, well, what does it look like on the other side of the defense? Tackles, 6 against Washington, 3 against Dallas, 6 against Kansas City, 5 against the Chargers, 3 against the Saints, 7 against the Eagles, 4 against Denver. What about QB hits, you asked me, Craig? Oh, I'm glad you asked, Christian. I'm going to tell you. He's got 2 against Denver, 2 against the Eagles, 0 against the Saints, 4 against the Chargers, 2 against KC, 1 against Dallas, 2 against Washington. What does that tell you? He started off a little bit slow and he's getting hotter. So how in the world do we sit around and ask Kayvon Thibodeau to make a play? He's constantly out of position. He constantly can't make the big play that you want. And we're talking about we got nobody to trade. I don't see it. I like him, but he's a first-round draft pick. And he doesn't play the game like he should be playing the game. He should have wrecked that game yesterday. He should have been a force. Everything is 0s and 1s out of this guy. How do we continue to say he's that good?
Well, first of all, I mean, what's that good? Like, he isn't Brian Burns. He isn't Aiden Hutchinson. He isn't those guys. He's a good player. Like, he's a good NFL player. I think his contract negotiation will be fascinating because I think he's going to want to be played like a great player. He's not a great player. He's a good player. He does a lot of dirty work that, like, you might not expect from the number 5 pick, that not all number 5 picks would be willing to do. I think that's part of his value. He's become a pretty good run defender. He was not always a pretty good edge setter. He's become pretty good at that. He does the year he had 11.5 sacks. Hasn't come close to that. He probably won't. But if you ask Burns or Lawrence, they all tell you he's playing at a pretty high level. He did not have a great game yesterday. That was a game he could have made a difference. He was obviously part of the trash talk. He did not step up yesterday. But I don't think, like, he would be 50th on my list of problems for the Giants. So,
yeah, I'm not saying they lost because of him, but I sure am saying,
having him for $15 million or whatever next year on a 50-year option. Like, again, I think that negotiation is going to be tricky. If you somehow get him to play for that, like, that's probably about his value. Like, he's probably a $15-18 million a year player. He's probably going to want 25, or whatever the high end of that market is. But I think he's a good player. I don't think he's an issue. I think he has always in his career been kind of streaky in terms of pressures and sacks. Like, he has big games and he has quiet games. Like, his rookie season wasn't great, but he had made maybe the 2 biggest defensive plays of that year the Giants went to the playoffs. He had the strip sack of Lamar Jackson in that game, and he had the strip sack touchdown of Washington in that game. So, like, he's always been like a
streaky,
a flash guy, a highlights guy, if that makes sense.
My one of my closest friends lives in Portland, Ryan. Says he watched him his whole career and nothing's changed. He's hot for 2 weeks. He disappears for 3 weeks. He's hot for 2 weeks. So nothing's changed there. I'm going to ask you one last question, really simple, because I know you got to go. This is an emotional loss, as we just talked about. Dart being upset, Burns being upset, Dexter being frustrated. Do they rebound to the point where they go out and they beat the Eagles again, or they compete with the Eagles, or that do they start stacking some wins or some more successes, or does something like this just shoot them in the foot? And now they're looking at it. Debo's hurt and Holland's hurt.
Yeah.
Where do they go from here?
Okay, so it's hard for me to answer that till Wednesday, and I see who's on the practice field. If a Debo and Holland are playing, they're going to lose. Like, they don't have enough players in the secondary. They're going to play with the same guys they had at the end of the game. They're going to lose. If they're healthy, and we're just talking about the emotional check, that loss would have gutted, knocked out most of the Giants teams I've covered. Not all, but most of the Giants teams I've covered would not bounce back from this. This team, I think, has a different edge to them, a different personality to them that I don't think they will pack it up. I actually think it's perfect for them that they're playing Philly next week and not some random team. They have their division rival, the Super Bowl champ, the team they want to prove last week's win wasn't a fluke. I actually think it's the perfect game for them this week. I don't think they'll win. I didn't think they would beat Philly the first time, but I don't think you'll see a dog blank effort either. Like the kind of effort they had against the Rams a couple years ago or against the Bucks last year. I don't think you'll see that.
All right. Well, we will see you on Monday, and we will talk about what actually transpires. I know you got to go. And then what do you got coming up this week? You got anything that you're working on that we need to tune into?
NFL owners meetings tomorrow, guys. So we'll see. We'll see if John's there. We'll see if they have any update when the CMO talks on the Daboll investigation. NFL owners meetings tomorrow.
So everybody should tune into the post and see what you're up to.
Well, we'll see. I'll tweet any news. So.
All right. Thanks, Ryan.
All right. Thanks, Ryan. Great job.
Ryan.
Thanks.
All right, gentlemen, we are going to move on to, let's see. We want to start taking some questions.
You want to do the 2-minute drill? I got you.
We do want to do the 2-minute drill.
Oh, the new segment, the new name for it, right?
Yes.
We're unveiling it.
Yes. So
Ready?
What was formerly the 2-minute drill is now the one last drive with New York Giants rush. Let's get into it.
All right. Welcome to what used to be the 2-minute drill. Now we're going to I'm going to go all the way back to the beginning of the show.
Oh, yeah.
And we're going to just see if any of these questions make sense. James Green, if you're still in the room, is Spartan Mike back? Spartan Mike is like studying for some finance test. He will be joining us back in November, but he's and also he's vacationing like crazy. Every time I turn around, the cat's on vacation.
He just met Pam from The Office in the airport the other day.
Incredible.
Dude's a celebrity. Getting 1 million views, going viral on Twitter. Like,
yeah. We love Spartan Mike. He's running
big time in
football, but he's dodging this right now because he's living it up. But Spartan Mike will be back shortly. I'm expecting him probably in late November because again he's got to pass a couple of these finance tests he told me about. So, but he will be back. What else do we have in here, Christian?
I got one here.
Good. What receiver do you guys think we will trade for? You know what? I have no clue. We just literally asked the guy who broke the story last week about them trading, and he's thinking like there's going to be help most likely, but it's low level help, not at the level like what we were thinking about Olave or Judy or who else was on that short list?
Waddle.
That's not going to happen, Paul. Doesn't mean that something won't happen. And if you just listen to the last 50 minutes of us ranting and raving about it, we need help. They can't get past 8 men in the box and expect Wan'Dale Robinson to be Steve Smith Jr. every play. Like it's just not going to happen.
My guess would be somebody from the Packers.
Okay,
which wouldn't be a bad option. I mean, they have a bunch of wide receivers over there, and I think whether it's Christian Watson or Dontavian Wicks, I mean, they're immediately an upgrade over what we have. And I think Wicks would honestly complement the guys that we have in this room. I like Christian Watson, but the health really scares me. So,
that's a good take, Christian. I actually thought that Hodgins was going to be something that they would pluck just because he's been here before. He can handle New York. He runs. I mean, Sean, you and I have said this so many times. Like he won the Minnesota game for us. He ran. An older
great route runner.
Yeah, an older Peterson, but great route runner, and he's tall. I thought he would make a nice compliment, and honestly, he might even help Jalen Hyatt out a little bit because Hyatt doesn't run those short routes like Hyatt could run. So, I guess Paul, the answer is it's up in the air, but there should be some help coming, and if there isn't, you really got to ask yourself, okay, Dabes, we're kind of over this now that you won't help us out. You won't help the team out. You're killing us with the kicker thing. Like I think Shane's right now deserves a little bit more heat because of the roster management. And I think, that credit goes to you guys because you've been talking about it for 2 weeks.
Yeah. So this isn't a question, but I do think it is a good talking point. This is from Lopez45. He says, if Bowen pulls this shit again against Philly, he better be gone. He should have been gone. Me personally, before the last Philly game, I gave him some grace, but after this week, I mean, I don't think he should have went on the plane back to New Jersey. That's just me personally. So I'm there with you, Lopez.
You're straight. And you know what, Pez? I'll say it again. There's a lot of loyalty here. It's not necessarily founded, right? Because there's some guys like how does the DB coach not in there adjusting these guys? What is Bowen doing? Like, there's a lot of blame to go around. I think sometimes, Pez, is that I'm on the fence as a defensive player. Like, Sean's definitely acclimated with, running the ball and towing the rock. And he's got a perspective as a defensive player. Sometimes you just got to make a play. And it's a big hit or it's a big open field tackle. And you take chances, right? Mm-hmm. Like, if you're afraid of losing your job, Pez, but, I mean, they threw that last pass, that 30-yard pass between 3 blue jerseys, and nobody was doing anything. You needed somebody to step up and just blast somebody. Look, so yes, I'm not a fan of Bowen and I don't want him here. But man, for the love of God, sometimes it's not about the coach. It's about the player.
For sure.
Somebody, look, watching Belton lay the wood on that dude, you know what it told me? Dude's playing out of position. He should be playing box safety because he's not the greatest in coverage, is he, Sean?
No, but we didn't really have a better option when Holland went out.
No, but in general, we've seen him get
in
burned
general,
before.
I would agree. Put him up there in the box safety. I think the biggest thing is I mean, it's hard because here's the thing. You're right. For 3 quarters, we looked like a dominant defense, and then you lose Howland, you lose Adebo, and Bowen shits the bed. Basically, he's like, "All right, I'm not going to do anything that's going to give up a big pass," and by doing that, he screwed us. Like, everything changed when Banks came in the game, so that goes on Banks and, like you said, the players, right? That's on Banks making a play, but it's also on Bowen for adjusting what he was doing because now you have Banks in the game. Like, you got to be better as a DC. You can't let one player or, because it's not like he was worried about Belton. None of us should have been worried about what Belton came in. He was doing fine. It's when Banks came in the game, and you can't do that. You can't soften up, or you can't get, whatever he did to, like, you just can't, like, and so, yeah, I don't know. He's got to get better when his stars aren't on the field. That's all I'll say. When your starters are not on the field, you got to be better. You got to make adjustments. You got to figure something out.
I agree. Can I say something really quick?
Yeah.
I want to talk.
Just real quick though.
Yeah, I want to talk directly to the chat. Chat, why did you not tell me that my microphone was not on? Got me sounding horrible. I got my microphone on, so I hope I sound a little bit better. Just wanted to talk to the chat real quick. Cole, I'm looking straight at you because you're most active in the chat. Speaking of Cole, Craig, your best friend here, he says, Dable is incompetent. What is he going to do? Step in? I mean, come on, man.
I mean, look, we've talked about it, about whether this is Dable's job to step in and override some of these things. The loyalty's really hard. Like, again, like Eric Gray, right? The year we had no punt returner, right? We got no kicker. Like, Daves and Shane come as a pack. So I don't know. I don't want to go as far as incompetent, but man, he does make some blunders. And so it also leads me to believe this, and maybe I'm fishing too old school here, Cole, but this seems to me the best head coaches have really good coordinators that are grown men and that can make really good decisions. And they work off each other, right? Like, they bounce off each other. Like, Reed is working with Spags and they're talking to each other, or it's Parcells and Belichick, or it's Weiss and Belichick, or whoever it is. Like, I just don't think that Bowen or Kafka add anything to Dable. So it's like feast or famine. If Dable messes up, it goes bad. He doesn't have anyone there to save him, or he doesn't have anybody to bounce an idea off him, right? Because he doesn't know everything. But I think some of these really good coaches always just have a really good second in command. Like Kafka's what, the assistant head coach or something stupid?
Yeah, he is.
And he's useless. He's useless. So yes, he can be incompetent at times, Cole. But if you look through some of the best coaches, they got some really good coordinators, at least one, right? Like if you look, Reed's always got Spags, right? You know, or some of these guys got really good coordinators that they could just go to and go, hey, what are we doing here? Right? Like they work together. I think Dave's is on an island because his coordinators are just ass.
Yeah, but again, that's his fault because he hired the coordinators. Both of those are his hire. And the other thing is, too, the reason he's not calling plays anymore is so he can manage the game and make these decisions and oversee everything with the team. So absolutely, he's got to step in and do something. He's got to step in and say to Bowen, hey, I don't want soft coverage here. Hey, I don't want us dropping 8. Hey, I want Dexter and Carter on the field. Hey, Mike Kafka, let's run the ball. So either he didn't tell Kafka or he thought it was a good play and he decided that they should pass on 3rd and 5. So the blame goes to him. That is part of, if you're not going to call plays and you're going to just be the CEO and oversee everything, that is what he's going to do. He left a timeout in his back pocket. Yeah. That's inexcusable. So, and I defend Daboll a lot. I wanted him here. I didn't think he should get fired last year, but we got to hold him accountable, and he is accountable. He is part of the reason why that loss happened yesterday. He made decisions and didn't get involved enough. He should have got involved. He should have gotten
part
involved.
Of it. And by the way, yeah, you're 1,000% right. They're all part of it. That timeout would have been used on Burns, getting caught on the offensive side of the ball.
For sure.
And he didn't use it. Right. He could have used it a number of times. And here's the thing, and Ryan brought up a good point earlier. They had literally 5 minutes of real time to get ready for the first play on defense, and they weren't ready for it, and that's what they came out with. And that's, again, either Daboll was okay with it or he didn't speak up. And either way, he's at fault for that. Not excusing the other guys, because you know how I feel about Kafka and Bowen and what they did, but we can't keep not acknowledging Daboll's role in this, because that's exactly what he should do at a head coach.
Collective effort, no doubt.
Yeah, I agree 1,000%. And it's even more frustrating because this isn't the first time that we've seen this level of incompetence from this coaching staff. And ultimately, for me, I put Bowen and I put Daboll together. That's a marriage. So me personally, I do think that Daboll deserves equal amount of blame. That's just me. But it's very frustrating because I thought personally that they should have used that timeout. If you're seeing Brian Burns running down the field and
right,
talk to me. I see you doing a timeout. What happened?
No, call the timeout.
No, he's saying he should have called the timeout.
Gotcha.
I'm with you. I'm call the timeout.
Yeah, it's very frustrating because you're seeing him run downfield. You know that your defense is gassed. And then on top of that, it's a 3rd and 5. Now it's a first down. So it's like at some point, if this was a rookie head coach, I would give him some grace. But you're in your 3rd year at this point? It's incompetence. It's very frustrating. And I got on Bowen. I know the rest of the Giants nation got on Bowen. But I do think that one coach that hasn't been receiving as much blame as he should is absolutely Brian Daboll.
And let's not excuse Mike Kafka either. Like, yes, the Giants score what they scored. But, yeah, I mean, you score a touchdown on a screenplay, and then the best time to run it is when you're trying to run at the clock because you don't know Denver. They Daboll said that they got the coverage they were thinking they were going to get, so Kafka had a great play call against that coverage. That's great, but the time of the game didn't matter. Yes, if they completed it, it's a great play and it works, but the chances, it's not the smart play in that system or in that time of the game. Like what Denver's doing. If you're going to throw the screen pass that you did to Scatterbo earlier in the game, you had 2 different options. And then, yes, I understand it's an overthrow to Wandale, but that's the best play you come up with on that second 3rd down is you're going to throw that to Wandale? No, be better, run out the clock. So yes, Mike Kafka is all 3. Our head coach, our DC, and our offensive coordinator are all the reason why we lost that game. Is all 3 of them shit the bed in the pressure moment. Excuse my language, but I'm fired up. Like that, all 3 of them are the reason we lost that game yesterday. Players got to make plays, yes, but No, the coaches have to put the players in the position to make the plays, and neither one of those guys did it yesterday. In the pressure moment, they folded like a cheap suit.
I think it goes 50-50 because you could be put in the right position. You're still an athlete. You got to make a play. Like, again, you got 8. You're telling me, think about it. There's 8 guys deep. Not one guy goes for the ball. They all wait around till he catches it to tackle it. Like, it's just terrible football. I tweeted this out earlier today. Think about the way football was played. Guys used to make big hits, legal hits, right? Now everything's push a guy out of bounds, give him a shoulder, do a little mud wrestling with the guy. It's just bullshit.
Because the refs are calling the flag, so guys are hesitant about doing it, especially in that throw that was there. And the other thing, Craig, is those guys were so far back again, it was harder to do it, and they don't want to risk a penalty in that situation to come up and lay a big hit on the guy.
But see, that's my point, is that one, you got to be confident to make a play. If you're playing scared, then you're in the wrong league, okay? Because here's the thing. You just let up 27 points. If you let up any more points, the game's ending anyway. Like, you have to go risk versus reward. There's 8 of you in the backfield. 2 of them are too deep. They're bracketed by 2 guys. It wasn't like he was going to go yak. They were all the 2 guys that bracketed him were in 3 yards. Someone goes for the body, someone goes for the ball, and someone has to make a play because no one on this team knows how to win. Okay.
You know who one of those guys were that had him bracketed, by the way?
Thanks.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That's my point. Is I like what you're saying.
Yeah.
I'm putting 50% of it on the coaching staff, right? But at some point, I've heard Ed Reed say it a million times. I don't like him saying, I don't care what the call was. If the ball's in the air, it's mine. Right?
But Craig, when's the last time you've seen a prevent defense actually be successful?
No, it's never. Well, once in a blue moon, but no, it's not.
It's very rare. It's a very rare.
But when you got
so that's what I'm saying.
When you got
but if you put
back there,
I get it.
Somebody has to be the ball guy.
But even better players than what we're back there guarding aren't making plays in a prevent defense. That's what I'm saying. They should just drop 7, rush 4. If nothing else, rush 4. You had Nick Jones and the other guy, Bo Bade or whatever the hell his name is, on the field instead of Carter and Lawrence. That's the coaching. I get what you're saying. Players got to make plays, yes. But coaches put him in the position to make a play, and they didn't put him in a position to make a play.
See, I on that one, I just disagree. You have 8 guys in the backfield, and everyone's going, I'm doing my job. I'm doing my job.
Here's the other thing.
Go make those plays, dude.
Yeah, but Craig, we said it again. Anybody who plays defense or prevent defense, great players are not making plays in that situation.
Yeah,
here's the other thing where coaches put them in a bad spot.
All prevent defense, there's no one allowed to be by the ball. There are 8 guys playing in the back of the linebackers. There are 8 guys dropped. Like, you can't give them a pass, bro. You give players passes.
But then are you going to say the same thing?
You know where they're supposed to be, and because of that defense, the ball leaves the quarterback's hand. Someone goes and gets the ball. You're making this out to be because it was 8 men in prevent that everyone just has to let the receiver catch the ball, or
I'm not going to have
the last play of the game that you don't take a chance. These guys are getting paid millions and millions of dollars to make plays, but we want to blame, hey, that's the wrong scheme. Okay, shit, we get it. It's the wrong scheme. Go get the ball and make a play. Guys make plays outside the X's and O's.
But there is a lot of NFL players who aren't making plays in the prevent defense. So you're going to get on every player that doesn't, or are you just getting on Giants players?
I'm only concerned about the Giants, and
but that's my point. Is hardly anybody ever makes plays in the prevent defense. So that's the coaching side of it. The other thing where I'll say coaching comes into it too. Yes. Tibbs got beat on the edge. One was on an RPO, which he did his job, but the quarterback got outside him. There was nobody else there. Hold on a second. He did what he was supposed to do. He
Dude,
actually,
I'm done.
because
I'm
here's
done.
the thing. No,
You
listen to what I'm
give
saying. Here's what I'm
every
saying.
player a
Okay,
pass.
so on an RPO, the quarterback reads the edge. The edge is supposed to either have the running back or the quarterback. He went for the running back. Who's
Which is
supposed to have the
wrong.
quarterback?
Which is wrong.
Who's supposed to? No, it's
Yes,
not wrong.
He's supposed to have outside containment, Sean. He's supposed to have
It's an
outside
RPO,
leverage.
Craig. He's on an island against two guys. So yes, I'm not saying. Hold on, I'm not saying Tibbs didn't make a bad play. He absolutely did. My point is, where is the help? Somebody else needs to be there. Nobody was there.
You know where the help is?
Nobody was there.
You want to know where the help is?
Where?
On the inside. He's supposed to take.
There's still another guy on the outside, Craig. There's still another guy.
No.
Tibbs is not the last line of defense on the edge. Brian Burns isn't the last line of defense on the edge. Somebody else. Where's our backers?
I respectfully disagree because it's outside containment.
I'm not defending Tibbs, but somebody else needs to be there.
It's outside containment.
It wasn't a normal run play. It was an RPO. Here's how you know.
He still has outside leverage, Sean. You're wrong. He has outside
I'm not
leverage.
wrong, because here's why I'm not wrong. I'll tell you why I'm not wrong. Because if it was an option play, somebody has the quarterback, somebody has the running back, and then there's another guy outside that does it.
The inside guy is the quarterback. The outside guy takes the outside leverage with outside leverage containment. You funnel it back.
And there's supposed to be somebody outside of
Tibbs
Tibbs too. Again, I'm not excusing Tibbs. He made a bad play. He got beat. But somebody else needs to be on the outside too. You have a corner. You have somebody else out there. There was nobody else out there.
Fellas, speaking of corners here, I just want to interject here. I thought this was a great question because I think this is a good transition because we are speaking of the defense. K-Max says, is Flott our best defensive back? I'm going to let you guys take it. Me personally, I think right now he's playing like he is. I'm not saying that he is, but personally, I do think that he's
right
playing
now.
like he
Yeah,
is.
right now he's playing. He's giving you. I know this is a cliche, but he's giving you 110% of everything. He's playing like it's his job to lose. He's playing like his pants are on fire, and he's willing to make plays that he probably physically shouldn't be making plays. 100%.
Yeah, and he was graded as the highest cornerback yesterday. He absolutely has been playing lights out. He's playing more physical. He's making tackles. He's breaking up passes. He's great in coverage. He's confident out there now too. Absolutely, he's our best DB.
Yeah, I
love
agree,
my guy Flott.
Yeah, he's playing, at a level that for me, I don't think it's close. I think that, he has solidified himself as that CB2, which is unfortunate, because they did trade up for Deonte Banks. But ultimately, I think that he's playing himself into a contract, and I don't think it's going to be an expensive contract for the New York Giants if they were to look to extend them, which I think that they should. I liked what I saw from Flott yesterday. I mean, obviously, he had a great game against Philly. And, he's a player who, like you said, Sean, to your credit, he's playing physical. He's showing up week in and week out. And, he's someone that I am excited to see, how he grows and how he develops in this defense, or whoever comes in and takes over play calling duties on the defensive side when Shane Bowen is relieved of his duties. And he's still a young player, too. He's still a very young player. And this is a very young team. Me personally, I don't want to, go back to the whole Tibbs situation you guys were just talking about. But because I understand both sides.
Craig hates Tibbs.
Yeah, I try not to play devil's
player.
advocate.
He's an average player.
He's a good player. Ryan said he's a good player. He's a good player.
He
didn't have a good game yesterday. I'll give him that. He did not have a good game yesterday. His first bad game of the year. This is his first bad game of the year.
Dude, you got to stop. You got to stop, dude.
Everybody has said he's been playing.
Everybody doesn't. Everyone is a novice. They don't look at the game. The guy's got
exactly. And I know you know football. I know you know football, and I know football.
He hasn't hit the quarterback in 4 weeks, dude. 4 weeks, he hasn't hit the quarterback.
He's in the backfield. I watch him get pressure. He's in the backfield, and there was a few times yesterday he got held. He's getting pressure, and he's forcing him into other guys. He's doing the dirty stuff.
Oh my God! This is why, hey folks, this is why football sucks now, because everybody wants the game to be about, if I'm around you, that's what makes the game good. So if I'm around the sack, it's worth something. If I almost catch it, it's worth something. Nobody really realizes that you actually have to finish to be good at what you do. Okay, if you're
There's a lot of guys who aren't finishing. There's a lot of guys who aren't finishing. Brian Burns is the only guy that's finished. Brian Burns is the only guy that's finished. He's playing at an all-pro level. He's playing at all-pro level. Potentially, as Christian said, defensive player of the year. You expect Tibbs to be that? He's not going to be that.
Tibbs hasn't hit.
Tibbs is playing very good this year. He had a bad game yesterday.
He had a bad game
yesterday.
Tibbs is bad. He's got no tackles.
He's not bad. You got Dunleavy saying the same thing.
I do think that there are certain elements to his game that he's improved on, whether it's in the run game. I think that are there games where he kind of fades and, kind of disappears? Yes. I think for me personally, as a whole, though, I think he's having a good season. It's not obviously what we saw with that double-digit sack season. And I think Brian Burns is getting, a lot of attention considering that he's playing like the best defensive player on this team. But I'm not gonna, toss the towel on Tibbs. I'll toss the towel on Theo Johnson.
And Dexter Lawrence isn't having a great year. He's playing worse than Tibbs right now.
Hey, that's a whole other conversation.
I'll say
Dexter Lawrence is not playing at the same level Tibbs is playing at right now. I hate to break it to you, and I love Dexter Lawrence.
Oh, me too.
But he's not. Tibbs is outplaying Dexter Lawrence right now.
You ready? I'm going to go on record, tell you right now that Tibbs is expendable. It's expendable, man. Trade him out. Trade him out because right now you got Carter. Carter's a better player. Tibbs is expendable. Dexter Lawrence is not expendable. Burns is not expendable. Tibbs is expendable for what you get out of him, which is 1 tackle a game, and you don't get quarterback. You get 4 weeks off from hitting the quarterback. He's expendable. He does.
How many tackles did Abdul Carter have yesterday?
I'll let you know.
Well, while you're looking that up, I do think that this
and Abdul Carter has a lot of pressures. So I'm not downplaying Abdul Carter. I'm just saying let's compare apples to apples at this point.
I just did.
I think Tibbs gets way too much hate. We get players getting hate that should be getting hate on this team.
I can't believe it.
And we have players that don't get hate that should be getting hate. That's what. It's not directed at you, Craig. It's the fans too. Oh my God! First of all, Darius Slayton should be getting a shit ton of hate. Shit ton of hate.
For sure.
How can we hate a guy who's not in the field?
He should have been before he got hurt. He should have been getting a lot of hate.
But some
other guys should have been getting hate.
Was he a first-round draft pick?
Doesn't matter. I'm tired of that because you can only get hate because you're a first-round draft pick.
You just said it doesn't matter if he's a first-round draft pick or not.
Hate is hate. I don't care what round he's picked in. You don't give him more hate because he's picked in the first round.
Money, expectations and money. You get drafted in the first round. You get paid.
Yeah, I don't go by expectations and money. I go by what they're doing, and he's playing well. And as Ryan said earlier, he's doing the things that aren't showing up in the stat column, and he absolutely is doing that.
Well, I'm going to make a list of all the.
Do I think it's expendable? Sure, somebody come in and place him, but I think they should re-sign him too because I think he's going to get better.
I'm more.
I think he's going to get better.
Him. I don't think he's going to
get better.
Much.
Tibbs, he's going to get better. He's going to keep getting better. Watch, and he'll go to somebody else, and he'll be better with somebody else. Watch. He's gotten better every year. He gets better and better every year.
Sean,
he's year 4. He's year 4.
His rookie year in Oregon.
He's
not
year
changed.
4.
He's the same guy.
He's gotten better. Everybody. And I'm not talking fans, everybody has said Tibbs has been a much better player this year. He had one bad game yesterday.
Bad last year.
Oh my goodness. My biggest issue with Tibbs is he gets hurt. That's my biggest issue. If he can stay healthy this year, that changes things. That's my biggest issue is he gets hurt. Year 4. We're so hard on guys when they're early in their careers. Drives me crazy.
First round draft pick who doesn't show up.
All right, listen, you hated on Flott, and he was 20 years old coming out of the draft. You said he couldn't play in this league.
I did because he was 170 pounds.
And you hated and you hated on Wandale because he was short and light and shouldn't have been drafted when he was drafted. And he's doing
that's not true. I said
we give up on guys too early.
That's not true, though. You're just saying that to make yourself win an argument you can't win. I said that he wasn't a second-round draft pick is what I said. Go back and look at it. I said he was available in the 3rd round.
You said he's short. You don't like short receivers.
No, you said I don't like short receivers.
And you said Flott was too skinny, couldn't be a good cornerback in this league. I did say
he was too skinny. I did say it. Exactly. Abdul Carter, 3 tackles versus Denver, 4 versus New Orleans, 1 versus the Chargers, 4 versus Kansas City, 1 versus Dallas, 3 versus Washington. Quarterback hits, 1 in Washington, 1 in Dallas, 1 in Kansas City. 5 against the Chargers. The dude is already playing better than Tibbs.
Listen, Carter is playing lights out. He's got to be on the field more. Those four guys, Dexter, Burns, Tibbs, and Carter should all be on the field at the same time. I don't know what the numbers were yesterday because I didn't look and I should have looked, but I know those guys were not on the field as much as they should have been, especially later in the game. That's when you got to have those guys on the field.
Christian, before we wrap this up, can we trade Tibbs? Would you be okay with that? Trade Tibbs. The guy really has very little impact on the game week to week. And if he does have a good game, it's like, okay, he had one good game and that's 3 weeks off. The guy hasn't even hit the quarterback, Christian, in 4 weeks. And that's his job. He's getting paid to hit the quarterback, make tackles, and get sacks. And he does none of that.
So for me personally, I would re-sign Thibodeau. Do I think he's expendable? Sure. I'm not going to disagree with you there. I think that his production could be replaced. But
there you go.
But I have seen where we don't really appreciate how much depth we have at a certain position, and 1 or 2 players leave, and now we're thin. A la the defensive tackle room. For a while, it seemed like that was our strength, right? We had so much depth there. BJ Hill leaves. Leonard Williams gets traded. Now, and listen, I like Darius Alexander, but he's not going to stop me from drafting a defensive tackle early if we're able to. You know, and we're still trying to find that production to replace what we lost with Leonard Williams, who's balling out in Seattle right now. So if he does get traded, for me, it has to be for the right price. I'm not listening to anything lower than a 2nd-round pick. And for me, that's if the team is desperate. I think coming up with this class so far for the players that are potentially going to be eligible to be in the draft, if the price is right, sure. But I would like to keep Kayvon just because if a guy like Burns goes down, who we just heard is in a walking boot, or if a guy like Abdul Carter goes down, who do we have that can come in and at least be serviceable? I'm not saying Kayvon is going to replace the production of those 2 guys. We'd be kidding ourselves. But I do think that if one of those guys goes down, I have confidence that Kayvon could come in and at least be serviceable. He's not going to go out there and embarrass his defense. Could he play better? Absolutely. I agree with you. He could play better. But like I said earlier, I do think that there are certain elements to his game that he has improved in. And it's not showing on the stats sheet. And I think this is just a product of being, excuse my language, a dog shit team where, you know, yesterday, had we won that game, we should be talking about how this was a statement win. You know, the defense for 3 quarters, you know, really, I mean, in the first quarter, they let up 44 total yards. You know what I mean? And they kept their foot on the gas for 3 quarters. Going into the 4th quarter, they completely collapsed on themselves. It's an all-around effort, but they collapsed on themselves. And they were gassed. I don't know if any of you guys have been in Denver, Colorado. Listen, I know you guys are a lot skinnier than me, but as a bigger dude, boy, I was struggling. I was struggling to breathe over there. So I could only imagine running around consistently. And Bo Nix is, you know, we just saw him running around the pocket, trying to make plays. I could only imagine how tired those guys were. So Tibbs,
a big boy.
For me, it has to be the right price. But I do think when you have Daniel Jones coming off of the books after this season, you're going to have a ton of cap space after the cap hits of Dexter Lawrence, Brian Burns, Andrew Thomas. You're going to have a good amount of space. Chat, you could double check this, but per Spoke Track, they're going to have around $60 million. So for me, it's
probably more.
Probably more. So
because that cap's going to go big.
Yeah,
exactly.
The Amazon. I think the Amazon money makes that sucker pop.
So it's
look at all the international games they're playing now too. That's extra money.
That too. I look at it from this perspective. I am not in favor of creating a hole that's not there. We're not in the business of digging holes. We've seen that too, where again, going back to the defensive tackle room. I mean, we were okay letting BJ Hill get traded. We were okay with Leonard Williams getting traded, or even what's his name from Alabama? His name is
Tomlinson.
Dalvin Tomlinson. And look at our room now. You know, we have guys that it's like, okay, like he has a sack here, he might have half a sack. Me personally, and I might lose everyone here, we have yet to replace the production of Leonard Williams since he has been traded. And I'm telling you, because I just had this conversation last night with my good friend Doug. He's a diehard Seahawks fan, content creator for them. Leonard Williams is playing out of his fucking mind right now. Excuse my language, but he is playing out of his mind right now. He is someone that when we did trade him away, I did not like it at all. I did not like it at all because I was worried as who was going to come in and replace him. And I'm not saying that Thibodeau is going to be that guy, but I do worry that if a guy goes down like Carter or Burns, boy, is that room very thin. It's very thin, and we just saw this with Xavier McKinney. He leaves to Green Bay. You could have re-signed him. You use a second-round pick on Tyler Nubin, who's not looking good. We created an unnecessary hole that we didn't. That pick
came from the Leonard Williams trade, you know.
We got Burns because of Leonard Williams, and I agree. Leonard Williams was underappreciated here by far by Giants fans. Like I was not one of them. Giants fans couldn't stand him. They didn't think he should get paid what he paid. They didn't think he was good.
Yeah. They were crazy.
I know. But here's what I think I do believe that Darius Alexander. And listen, I'm going to put this out there. I'm going to make a statement. I made a statement about Flott. I made a statement about Wandale. Darius Alexander is my next statement guy. He's going to be that guy. He's going to come in. He's going to do the things. He's a rookie. He's still learning things. We're talking about D tackle, not edge. We're talking about D tackle. Christian was talking about D tackle. We're talking. Keep up here. Christian was talking about Leonard Williams, who's a D tackle. He's not. He's not an outside linebacker.
I kind of remember that.
And I will stick by my statement that Tibbs, and when they did move Tibbs to edge, or when they moved him to D end and had Carter and Burns on the edge, Tibbs did well there. So
no, he had a tackle. He had one tackle.
Yeah, move him to defensive end.
And then he'll have two tackles.
And have Carter and Burns as your two outside linebackers. If you're going to stay with a 3-4, move Tibbs there. I don't want to hear he's too light. He's bigger, stronger than he has been. That's what he played. He was a 4-3 defensive end in college. So you can play a 3-4 defensive end here with the two outside guys that you have. That's what you do with things. But getting back to my point, Darius Alexander is going to be the guy to put up production at that deep spot. And I will say, Roy Robertson-Harris has played well this year. And Nunez Roches, who Nacho, we know what Nacho says, right, Craig? What's Nacho say?
Oh, crap. I wasn't ready for that. Wait.
Oh, look at that. Sorry. Let me say again. What does Nacho say, Craig?
I got to find it.
One more time. All right. Nacho's been stepping up and playing well this year. And we like Nacho because what does Nacho say?
Oh, man, I don't even
Come on, Craig.
Tune in to Giants Rush every Monday, baby. Rush every Monday, baby. Rush every Monday, baby.
All right. Hey, it took me a little while to find it.
I had no idea what you guys were talking about, so that's why I was like,
now you know when we say what Nacho says, Christian. Now you know. So when you're producing next time, now you know to find that clip with the Nacho. Those guys have stepped up.
I forgot where I put it.
No, you're good. And Sean, that's a great point. And I just want to say this real quick, and I'll let you go, Craig. I just don't think that a team that is thin at certain positions should be in the business of creating holes that we don't need to be creating. Because let's say we do trade Tibbs, right? Let's say you get a third or a second round pick at best. You're going to then use – well, that's what I'm saying. Like, or
give me a player. Give me a player for player trade. Give me a good player in a trade. If you can give me a good player in a trade, fine. I'm not trading Tibbs for picks.
Nope, I'm there with you. If we could get a good player, I'm with you there. But for me, again, like in this hypothetical, if they did get a pick, you're going to use that pick to what? Draft a player to potentially be better than Kayvon?
No, you got to get a package. You got to trade for a player.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, listen, you saw 49er fans last week, talking about Juwan Jennings for Kayvon. I said send them to Alcatraz for that. Completely disrespectful. I'm good off of Juwan Jennings.
I'm not looking to give the guy away for nothing. I'm just saying he's got all the talent in the world. The impact is not felt. I mean, all he needed to do was make 1 or 2 plays yesterday, and he's soft. It comes up short, and I'm like, man, like he's got all the tools. It's right there in front of him. Like I said before, sometimes you just got to have guys that make plays. When you watch Brian Burns play, Brian Baldinger broke down Burns' game yesterday so perfectly, showing him come down the line of scrimmage, chasing Bo Nix all the way to the sideline so Bo wouldn't be able to set his feet and throw the ball back inside was a thing of beauty. And you're just watching the motor on this guy, and you're watching this guy make plays off the backside. shedding blocks. At one point, he was triple covered. And then I go watch Tibbs, and I'm like, oh, okay. Like, it's just, they're different type of players.
Here's why, though. Here's why. Tibbs is not a traditional 3-4 outside linebacker. Brian Burns is. Brian Burns is exactly what you want your outside. Tibbs is more of a DN. Tibbs is playing outside linebacker, but he's not a 3-4 outside linebacker.
I mean,
sorry, he's just not.
He plays standing up. He plays, in a 30 or 40.
He does, but he's not good. He's not. He's out of position. He's playing it. He's playing it well, but he's not in his. Like I said, he was a 4-3 defensive end in college. He's not a traditional 3-4 outside linebacker. Sorry,
sadly, he was. This is the same player. This is the same guy that he was in Oregon that he is here.
I get it, but if you have him in a more natural position for him, I think you're seeing different, because again, he keeps getting better and better. Put him at defensive end. I'm going to keep saying it. Put him at defensive end. Let him play defensive end, and then you have Carter and Burns as your outside linebackers. Simple solution. Very simple solution.
I think one of the simplest solutions, and I think what would really show us what we do have, is we need a competent coach coaching these guys. We need a better defensive coordinator, in my opinion. I like Andre Patterson. I'm not saying get rid of Andre Patterson, but I would like to see Kayvon, Abdul, Brian Burns, and Dex under a different defensive coordinator. That's just me personally. Now,
Dex needs to be over nose 90% of the time, or 80% of the time, or whatever it is. They didn't even take advantage of the mismatch they had with the guard yesterday, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong. Somebody correct me on this. Did he line over the guard that was the third string guard coming in?
Yeah,
I don't know that he did. But regardless, he should. He's got to be at nose tackle. I know they play base and the nickel. Just go to a 3-4. Just play a 3-4. Utilize who you have.
It's not going to happen. So you can wish it.
I know, and it drives me crazy. It should happen.
It absolutely should happen. Fellas, I'm not seeing any more questions in here. I think we're good to go.
Yeah,
that was a good last drive, or last drive.
Good spirited. Wait, listen, thanks for everybody for listening. Yeah. I know you guys are tired of hearing us. We all know Tibbs is what Tibbs is going to be, and Sean's going to, support him because, he wants to.
Had to get it in again. My boy Flott, though. My boy Flott locking down that cornerback position.
Remember
and
this.
My guy Wandale.
At the end of the day,
it's good to be the king.
Zach, and I can shut their microphones off, see, so I don't have to listen to him. I just turn his microphone off, see? But I wouldn't do that because I'm a nice guy. Guys, great show. We'll see you guys next Monday. We're hoping for a win. Very hard to win in Philadelphia, without a doubt, as one of the harder places to play in all sports, or at least the NFL. But is it doable? It is. The Giants have showed you one thing. It's interesting. The Giants can win games, and they can go toe-to-toe with very good competition. But what we are finding out, and this is actually not a knock, believe it or not, is the Giants don't have anyone in the locker room that knows how to win. They don't have those guys yet. They're not there, right? Like, your leaders of this team, Dex has never won, Burns has never won, right? None of these guys have ever won. The only one that's ever won anything is Russ. So you got a lot of young guys learning on the fly. But again, the way they played the Chargers, the Eagles, and the Broncos, again, I know we're not happy with the loss, but just keep this in mind: this is a way different season than it was last year.
Absolutely.
You have a quarterback, and someone got on me, by the way. You guys will appreciate this. Someone got on me today. If Dable's such a quarterback guru, why didn't he make it work with Jones, and why can he make it work with Dart? And I'm like, everyone's got a different skill set, man. Like Jones is not Dart. Dart is definitely, look how elusive he is in the pocket. He does read. He does use his feet in different way. Jones was a very fast quarterback in a straight line, 40-yard dash, point A to point B, right? He didn't see the field really well. The point is that, like, we've got guys like Carter, and we got guys like Dart and Scatterboo. We got guys like Theo and Bellinger and Malik. There are pieces here. So as much as we're all upset, and we are upset, and we are angry as hell, this team is way better positioned now than they are. So again, we're still hating on Shane for some really dumb mistakes. Hating on Mara for getting involved when he shouldn't be. Hopefully he's on the way to healing and getting better because
Right.
nobody wants to see that.
Yep.
We're hoping that Bowen figures it out, or he brings in a really cool young defensive coordinator that can play some smash mouth football. But at the end of the day, the biggest piece is this: you got a quarterback. You can't get any more out of a rookie quarterback than you're getting right now. I mean, I'm over the moon about what he is. Scadaboo's a blessing. Carter is exactly as advertised. If he wasn't held 50% of the time, he'd probably have 7 sacks right now. So thanks for hanging out with us. We're going to see you guys next Monday. We'll tweet out some stuff tomorrow, some clips, and we'll have some fun with you guys. Do me a favor. Subscribe, like, chuck it in the comments. Tell us what you guys want us to do. Tell us what you want to hear, what you want to talk about. Maybe, you know what, Sean? Maybe we'll give some stuff away next week too. Maybe we'll do some of that.
Oh, that'd be good. Absolutely.
I haven't given anything away in a while. I think Lowe and Stretch got the last 2 giveaways, the bobblehead and
They did, which were great giveaways. Maybe we'll break out a new segment or bring back an old segment we have. We never know. We got some things that we could bring out next week, whether it's something brand new or something we've done only once. Who knows?
If you disagree with Sean more and more each week, I think you'll be up for more prizes. You want to agree with Christian and I because we're the good guys here. And Sean's just, he's the Joker. So nobody agrees with the joke. Just kidding. We appreciate you guys. We'll see you guys next week. Peace out.